My role at Merakoi in plain language is bringing the patient expert voice into market research. I'm a market research consultant and strategist. And in that role at Merakoi, I am leading or supporting on projects, clients' projects that need to come with a market research approach when they want to talk to people with chronic conditions. Where are patient experts most often underused or misunderstood? And how do we fix it? I mean, the thing with market research is that it usually is bound quite strictly by compliance rules, data privacy laws. That means that per se in projects like this, there can be no direct interaction between the patients and the company commissioning the research. So that basically reduces the patients or the patient experts to just being respondents, meaning all the work that goes into it, like what are the questions we need to ask? And what do we want to find out? How do we go about this? What are our hypotheses? This is something that comes from the pharmaceutical company and the research experts. I mean, we're experts in our field as researchers, but that still means we don't have the patient or the patient expert perspective. I most influence the patient expert experience and what patient experts do that makes the project dramatically better is simply the way we do market research differently at Merakoi. So we will be including patient experts right from the start of those projects, like every step of the way, meaning they will not be the interviewee or the respondent. They will basically be the partner and the co-researcher along with us. And the difference this makes is that right from the beginning, we will have them on board to help us learn and understand about the condition, about the issues, and ideally helping us actually frame our research questions and make us like maybe question our objectives or understand, do we come with the right approach, with the right mindset, or are there things that we have forgotten or that we have not considered, but that should be part of a project right from the beginning? And then a patient expert will also be with us every other step of the way, like designing the research materials with us, bringing their perspective to the analysis of the result, to the reporting, and also being present at the readout with the client. And that really helps making sure that we are aware of all the aspects that are important, all the angles that are important, that they make sure we ask the right questions, that we don't forget any important questions, and also that we kind of ask questions the right way. Like, what's the language? How do we need to talk to these people that we want to learn from? And they will also be part of the reporting. Like, they will add their perspective to the report. They will kind of challenge us on how we use these insights, and are we kind of making the right conclusions? Are we giving the right recommendations? Or did we forget something that's really vital and that should be included from a patient perspective? So in that way, they really help us go beyond our researcher perspective and make sure that we and also the clients gain as much as we can from these projects. And what we've also always find very, very important and insightful is having our patient experts at the presentation meetings, at the readouts with the clients, because beyond being so well placed to explain what we've seen and what that means, I always feel that there's so much deeper of a connection between the clients we're working with and the project and the condition and the people with the condition when they can talk to someone with actually lived experience. And as we all know, once you have that emotional connection, you get involved much more and you want to make sure that things get better. So it's kind of across all those processes of a classical market research project where we will still need to talk to patients as respondents only. At least we have someone with knowledge, with lived experience at our site to help us make the most out of the project. It depends on the project and whether that's possible, but wherever we can, we will also have the patient expert leading the conversations with us, like being there as a co-moderator alongside a professional market research moderator. And again, that gives more depth, more insights, and allows us to just dig deeper and make sure that we unearth the things that are really important to consider across projects. I think the most important thing is that we as the professional researchers put ourselves into the seat of the pupil. Like, of course, we have our objectives, we know what we're doing, but we're basically here to learn from a patient expert and to really incorporate that, what they tell us to do, into the research. And beyond that, we will also be accompanying the experts every step of the way, providing them with the knowledge, with the information around the project as much as possible. We will be coaching them to be moderators, giving them an understanding how we analyze, how we look at things, to really enable them also to bring their perspective into the projects. This is actually the first thing that came to my mind is a very pre-Merakoi moment quite early in my career as a moderator, but that really changed my perspective. And that really helped me to understand that, yes, Merakoi is the thing, and they're going about it the right way. That was when I was moderating a project on Alzheimer's. And really the objective of the project was to understand more about the cognitive issues that these people have, like to understand how the memory loss is affecting their everyday life. And the objective was to kind of develop frameworks, supports, things that could help people to better deal with the memory loss. And I was having that conversation with that lady for about an hour. And usually what you do at the end of an interview is you ask one last question that is, well, is there anything that we forgot, anything that's on your mind that's pressing that you want to tell us, but that we never asked? And she said, well, actually, the memory loss is the big thing about Alzheimer's. But she has her ways how to deal with it. And she has people to remember, help her remember. She has to post it on the fridge and all kinds of things. But the thing that really bothers her most about Alzheimer's is that she's losing the depth of her feelings. So that she stopped feeling anything when she was hugging her granddaughter. And that she was hoping so much that people would start developing something for this, or really taking a closer look at this aspect of Alzheimer's. And I was going like, oh my God, if I had asked this question at the beginning, and if this was ever like part of our research questions and objectives, we would have had a totally different conversation. And this was such a moment where I felt we shouldn't just, of course, in market research, we need to, like, it's a scientific research situation. Like, you have your variables, you have the things that should always be the same to be sure that the results you're getting are valid. But that really drove it home to me that we need to talk to these people before we even start thinking about what's the framework we're using, like what are the boundaries in which we are asking questions and the topics that we are asking about, just to understand we're not missing the crucial things. And this is what I so love about Merakoi, is that the way we can work with patient experts and bring them even in something as restricted by compliance and data privacy and things like that as market research, that we can really make sure that the perspective is right from the beginning. If your work had a theme song, what would it be? And my spontaneous thought was not about a song. It was more like thinking how it feels being at a live concert with a favorite band, like of the energy that's happening in that moment, like when everyone is there adding their voice, dancing along. And it kind of feels like we're all part of the band and we're all part of the song, and how kind of the music becomes something more, and the impact the music has on you and everyone is so much more than when you're just listening to the music by yourself. And this is kind of how it feels like doing a market research project with Merakoi, where you can really bring everyone, the client, the really great people at Merakoi, and the patient experts and everyone that we're interviewing to the table to create that more part of it.
Tap that button. Subscribe.